Welcome to another edition of The End Zone, along with Cameron Johnson. I am Colby Daniels. Finally, we've made it to the All-Star break. The NBA regular season is a marathon, and when you add the NBA Cup, it's really condensed the number of games and how often you have to play, and obviously load management is a massive concern. Oklahoma City has had a ton of players hurt through this unofficial first half of the season, but they finally crossed the finish line of the pre-All-Star break portion of the schedule, and now they have, 8 days, 7-8 days to relax a little bit, recharge the batteries, and really start to make that run toward the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see how they take advantage of that break and what kind of reward that has for them coming out of I know SGA, we don't know what his status will be on the flip side yet. I know they'll reevaluate him. Yeah, so I think getting a lot of those players healthy, it'll be a nice rejuvenated, hopefully, look for the Thunder.
Yeah, for sure. Hit the reset button a little bit, and it's always a mental shift as well following the All-Star break, because everybody starts playing with their mind geared more toward the playoffs, and it's within sight. So, I think you see more competitive basketball games after the All-Star break as well. Speaking of the All-Star break, and we'll talk more Thunder basketball, you excited for this new format, USA versus the world?
I am, yeah. I feel like that's been the conversation both in like the NBA and the NFL as well, are these All-Star games, Pro Bowl games, losing, their kind of, I don't know what the word is there, but like the significance because of how you've seen a lot of players kind of start to hold back. They're not quite what they used to be in terms of competitiveness, hard word there. But no, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this world format turns out. I mean, you're going to see some of these big name players going up. It'll be a good kind of benchmark to really see.
I'm skeptical that this format will actually make people play with more competitiveness than they did in the previous format, but I appreciate the fact that they're trying something, because the previous situation was not working at all. So at least they're trying something. I'm skeptical, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, and I also, I understand the, playing safer, holding back a little bit, because I do appreciate preserving their body, staying healthy, but I feel like in recent years it is just the effort has dropped to so little that maybe boosting it a little bit but still staying safe, hopefully that'll make for a more fun game.
Well, let's talk Thunder hoops. They're getting ready for this final stretch before the postseason. I feel like over the last week, when I talk Thunder basketball with anybody, the only thing that anybody brings up, outside of the injuries obviously, is Jared McCain, right? The Thunder made the big splash the day before the trade deadline. They bring in a guy that everybody can clearly see is talented. He's really, I think, already made a contribution off the bench. His role, I would anticipate, is going to be much larger next season. But with the injuries, there's been an opportunity for him to contribute to this team immediately, and he's making the most of it. Let's hear from Jared McCain and head coach Mark Daigneault.
Yeah, I think the unselfishness of this team is really high, and for them to, when I come in and just give me the confidence to be myself out there, I think it makes everybody's life easier, and they've done a great job of helping me adjust. Just like you see on the outside of how this team operates, and you never really know until you're actually in it, and being in it for even just a week, you can tell just the culture that they have, the principles that they stick to. You can see why we're so good. We're so good.
Is there anybody on there? What he's doing is very difficult. It's an unexpected situation for him. He's joining a team that has had success together and has a lot of continuity, and he looks like he has been here. And I think it's a credit to the fact that he is confident and aggressive, but also playing inside of what we do. It reminds me of the way that Caruso and Hartenstein were. At the beginning of last year, it reminds me of the way that Mitchell was able to integrate kind of seamlessly. Those guys just plug into the system, and they look like they've been here for a long time. And I think it's a credit to his sense, his awareness, his team orientation, his IQ. He's done a great job.
I mean, chemistry is a major part of basketball, and he has fit right in, as Mark just said. Hasn't been shy about taking his shots when he obviously has the opportunity to do it. he seems like his personality would gel well with this team. And, I think there's maybe a danger of like trying to do too much in games when you're the new guy and everybody's kind of looking like this guy's taking shots from us, but you don't get the feeling that is the culture in OKC anyway.
Not at all. And I think it helps that he's kind of that same age range as some of these players, and that was kind of the big
He's
story.
actually the young guy. I mean, this has been the youngest team in the league for a while. He's now like the young guy.
Yep, exactly. And I think off the court fits right in with their personality. I know a lot of his teammates have said that, and he said that as well. And so far, it's trending upwards on the court as well, his performance. So, so far, I've been very pleased with what I've seen. And I also appreciate his online presence, too. He gives a very good inside look at what being traded is like, the video of him getting locked out of the facility, basically. Just fun to see all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And
that graphic should have said Jared McCain Thunder Guard / content creator.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
He's a content. I remember him being among the media members at the NBA Finals media days because he was working, I believe, for the NBA channel, doing like interviews and stuff. But I remember him being there for the NBA Finals at media day and doing a bunch of interviews and content creation and all that stuff. So
how about that?
He has that type of personality. You can obviously tell that he's just that type of guy. But I think they have a lot of fun with it. I think going into the break, like I know that SGA is hurt and they're going to reevaluate him, and nobody liked to see J-Dub leave the game the other night, but I think you have to like where this team is, other than the two like big stars, especially a guy like Isaiah Joe, who is absolutely on fire from beyond the arc right now.
Yeah, selfishly, I love to watch it. He's an Arkansas guy, but the way he shoots from three, it's like that's his identity right now. And he backs it up. It's been a huge help to watch, especially in this injury stretch, but also whenever they're a full healthy roster. He's just a difference maker, I think, and it's been fun to watch.
I'll have to double check the numbers, but I don't know if trading for a three-point shooter like Jared McCain did anything for Isaiah Joe and maybe feeling like, hey, I've got to step it up. But I believe, I'll have to double check the numbers, I believe he's shooting over 50% from three since the Thunder acquired McCain. And he's been the go-to scorer, it feels like at times when he's on the floor, and obviously SGA and J-Dub aren't in action.
Yeah, no, I think it's just that's been the story of the season is how well these guys have been doing it, stepping up in those absences, but him in particular, it's fun to see him emerge as maybe not like a leader from the, man, words are hard for me today, but he's just been stepping up and leading this team where they've kind of struggled all season long, and now he's stepping up. Hopefully we can see that kind of inspire the rest of the team to get the three-point shooting going. But good stuff.
It's been a lot of fun to watch, and the role players have really stepped up in a big way. All right, we've got to take a timeout. On the other side of the break, we'll catch up with Anthony Morrow, who has a great story about competing in the NBA three-point contest. All-Star Weekend coming up this weekend. In addition to DeMarco Murray headed to the NFL, we'll tell you more next. It's NBA All-Star Weekend. Once upon a time, the dunk contest was the premier event of All-Star Weekend. I think that's kind of shifted to the three-point contest a little bit. The NBA in general has become a three-point shooting league, so it makes sense. But we caught up with friend of the show, Anthony Morrow, former OKC Thunder player as well, and he gave us an inside look as a former three-point contestant to what that experience was like.
I had to do a lot of events for that, you know what I'm saying, which was cool. But it's like everything leads up to, like, you do like all these events during the morning, and then in the afternoon you eat, then you do more events, and then it's three-point contest. Like, ain't no time to be in the gym. Well, I'm used to being in the gym for a few hours, especially back then, at least a couple hours or something. So by the time the three-point contest started, I was like, they gave me this, I remember they gave me like a last minute endorsement. It was like, we give you like, woody whoop, 10,000 just to use this before you shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like a hand powder, like the joint just LeBron threw up in the air. It's like that. So I don't even remember the name of the company. And I was like, remember feeling like so unprepared for that, man. Cause I begged Billy King. I was like, yo, I'm in it. I said, can we just order some, you could take it out of my contract. Order some of the basketball racks so I can like work on this. Cause I'm in the gym at night anyway, after practice, whatever it is. He was like, yeah, I got you. We only had one basketball rack that we already had. He never ordered the other 4 for me. So I was like moving the rack around, but like I couldn't get my timing right. So I ended up getting bounced out in the first round. I had like 14 threes, but I didn't finish my last rack because I couldn't get my timing right. Because I'm so used to shooting like in my own rhythm, but you got to shoot differently off the basketball rack. So like I'm like, if I make it to the second round, now I know what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like everybody, Kevin Love was in that. He might have won it that year. Kevin Durant. Everybody hit like 18, 19, 22 in the first round. And I had like 14. And I didn't finish the rack. So like, all right, the last rack. So then like the second round, I'm still there, you know, we still camaraderie. All of them shot terrible in the second round. 8, 9, 11, 8, 9, 10, 9. I'm like, why y'all didn't do this last round? You know what I'm saying? But nah, it was a great experience though. And then getting to meet, you know, getting to see the atmosphere of the 3-point contest since that's always something I always wanted to do since I was a little kid. It was a dope experience.
There you go, an inside look at the NBA three-point shooting contest. You wouldn't think that guys have never really like taken a ball off a rack and shot it in that way, but I mean, it makes sense that you wouldn't, like your rhythm and timing would be completely off because you're used to somebody throwing you the ball,
Right.
catch and shoot type thing. But yeah, that was a really cool story and insight on the three-point shooting contest. All right, let's talk about some news that happened this week with OU football. Running backs coach DeMarco Murray is headed for the NFL. He's taking a job as the running backs coach with the Kansas City Chiefs. Interesting move here, and you know, obviously we'll keep an eye on what happens with his position. But he took the job in 2020. I think it's been met with maybe people disagreeing about the job that he's done to this point. I think when you have a name of his caliber, he's been able to bring in a lot of big-time recruits, big-time names at the running back position, but OU hasn't had a 1,000-yard running back in 3 seasons, and their yards per carry has dropped each of the last 5 seasons.
Yeah, when I saw that news break, it was, to me, a bit of a head-scratcher, just looking specifically at this last season. I was like, huh, okay. But, yeah, you look at some of the running backs he's produced in the earlier years, and, I mean, I think... I'm curious, like, if he really will serve as, like, the primary, you know, running backs coach there. I know, like, title-wise he will, but I'm curious, you know, we've seen it with the Chiefs before. Sometimes a guy will take over a position, but it's really someone else running the show. And so maybe that gives him a chance to, you know, maybe look at a more quality control. I don't know. But in the end, to me, I'm like, it's also a good chance for him to get coaching experience under you know,
Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and
so,
the rest of that group. Yeah,
I mean, basically where I sit is I have no clue how it's going to look. It's interesting on the surface, and time will tell how it's going to play out.
All right, real quick before we take a timeout, we got to show you the 10 Sooners that are headed to Indianapolis at the end of March and the beginning of April for the NFL Combine. We have R. Mason Thomas, Marvin Jones Jr., Grayson Halton, Dominic Williams, and Kendall Daniels. Not to mention Owen Heineke after the NCAA gave him the screw job. Robert Spears-Jennings, offensively Deion Burks, Jaron Kanik, and Fabechi Wiwu. So Oklahoma well represented at Lucas Oil Stadium coming up in a few weeks here. And I mean, it was a tremendous season for the Sooners. We'll talk more, I think, as we get closer to the draft and through the draft process about those guys and who has a real opportunity to move up draft boards, but I think it's going to be fun, and I think a lot of those guys are going to hear their names called once we get to the NFL draft. All right, we got to take a timeout. It is this week's edition of Moving the Chains next on the End Zone. All right, welcome back to the End Zone along with Cameron Johnson. I'm Colby Daniels. It is time for this week's edition of Moving the Chains. So I got some fun questions today, so buckle up, get creative. There are right answers to these.
Okay.
There are wrong answers, and there are answers that are in between. So, like, you don't necessarily have to get the right answer to get points, but we'll see how you do. All right. R.I.P. James Vanderbeek, right? Sad news this week that James Vanderbeek passed away. His role as John Moxon in Varsity Blues, one of my favorite ever. That was one of those movies that I grew up watching as a football fan, and it was so great. So first question, who is the best fictional movie quarterback? Your options here, John Moxon from Varsity Blues, Willie Beeman from Any Given Sunday, Joe Kane from The Program, or Shane Falco from The Replacements?
Ooh. That's a good question. Some of these I have not seen in a very long time since I was a little bit younger, so
That's
I
fair,
kind of
that's fair.
have to refresh myself. But we'll go the Varsity Blues route there.
Well, I mean, timing is everything,
Yeah,
right? Timing is
exactly.
everything. That is the right answer. So I'm going to give you 8 yards on first down.
Heck yeah.
Well done, out of the gate. Yeah, any other answer on that specific one would have
Yeah.
been completely wrong. But I'm glad you picked up the crumbs that I was dropping with that open there. All right, question number 2. My dream NBA dunk contest looks like this. Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, Vince Carter, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James.
Yeah.
Who wins this hypothetical dunk contest if they're all doing this in the prime of their career?
Prime? I just lean toward Jordan, I think. I mean, that's my go-to. If anything else, maybe it might be a little basic, Kobe, but my gut tells me Michael Jordan on this one.
Okay. Vince Carter is, I think, by far the best dunker of those 5. But Vince Carter never had to compete against Michael Jordan, who has the greatest competitive spirit of all time. So
Yeah.
give it to Michael Jordan. That is the right answer. Absolutely. So first down already,
Wow.
and we'll see what else you're working with here. All right, here is my dream scenario for an NBA three-point contest. We have Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, Oklahoma's own Mark Price, Steph Curry, and Larry Bird. So these guys in a three-point contest in the prime of their career, who is the winner here?
Okay, maybe I feel like this is where I'm going to get called out for a wrong answer. But, I mean, just in recent years, you watch Steph Curry, and it's like that he's scientifically just built different when it comes to the three-pointer. I go with Steph.
Okay, that was...
I know it's basic. Granted,
Larry Bird was the right answer.
Okay.
Mostly
I mean-
because he won the first 3 NBA three-point shooting contests. Steph is a 2-time winner, and Steph is the greatest shooter, I think, in the history of basketball. But in
Yeah.
a three-point contest, I think the way that Larry Bird shot,
I was going to say the caveat
his release
here.
and all that is why I think he's so good at it. So
Yeah.
I'll still give you
in-game.
positive yardage. Because Steph is a good answer. Any of the other 3 would have been a sack and negative
okay.
game. All right, last one. The Winter Olympics are currently taking place. So
Okay. Yeah.
which of these events would the average person have the most success in? Downhill skiing, the luge, figure skating, curling, or speed skating?
Okay, so this one, it's kind of a double-edged sword here. I feel like the easiest in terms of you don't have to do that much, at least from my view, is the luge. Now, on the flip side, isn't that one of the most dangerous sports, too? So I don't know. It seems like.
Yeah, that's definitely a sack. Curling is the right answer there.
Oh, I
Curling
watched
is
the-
definitely
I
the
watched
right
those
answer.
finals,
But
too.
luge,
I
I
don't
think
think so.
we could have a fatality if the average person just decided to go down
yeah.
the hill that way. All right, it is closing argument with Noble McIntyre next here on the End Zone. All right, welcome back one final time. It is time for the closing argument as we wrap up the show. Our attorney at law and massive sports fan, Noble McIntyre, in the house once again. So you and I both grew up in a period where the NBA All-Star Weekend was maybe a much bigger deal than it is now.
A much bigger deal.
There were times that I know on the marquee for the dunk contest, you just saw the names involved, and it was must-see television. I can still remember Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins battling it out. Over the years, the star power and the marquee of that thing has diminished significantly. So my question to you is this week, can you fix the dunk contest? Is it fixable? And if it is, what do you do to ultimately turn this thing around?
I think you can. I think when it first came out, we were seeing things for the first time. Now you can get on TikTok and see a 15-year-old jump off a house, do triple somersault and dunk a basketball. So it's not that it's boring, it's just you're not seeing it for the first time. The way you're going to make it popular again, I think, is you have to have mandatory inclusion by the athletes. If they're getting max contracts, they've got to participate if they get picked. And the other thing I think you do is fans aren't told who's participating. They pick it, just like you do the All-Star teams. And then the final thing is, instead of having people on the sideline with a 9.8 scorecard, you get former winners to judge, and their score's half. The other half is an online interactive vote by fans. and it's happening instantaneously. So the score goes to the 1,000th of a point, and it's a combination of former winners and the fans, and that's how you get the fans more involved.
I am absolutely sold. I will add, I think it's got to have star power. So I think if you're voting on who is participating, it's got to be among the group that are all-stars, right? It's
right.
NBA All-Star Weekend. Having some guy that's the 12th man on a losing team doesn't move the needle the same way that it would if it's LeBron James or Kevin Durant or one of the big marquee superstars.
I agree 100%, and they can't opt out. If they're there to play and they're healthy to play and they get picked by the fans to participate in the dunk contest, that's part of the game. You participate.
Move over, Adam Silver. Noble McIntyre needs that chair, and we're making new decisions for the NBA dunk contest. All right, that is it for this week's closing argument. We'll be back next week here on The End Zone.